Welcome everybody to the presentation on which type of business to start with two people. Surely you've wanted to start your own business, but you just don't know which type is right for you. There are so many options and choices that it can be overwhelming. So today we will talk about the three main types of businesses. There's the partnership, the LLC, and the corporation. First, we'll start with the partnerships. It is the easiest type of business to create as it requires no documentation and just a handshake and an oral agreement gets it done. You have the general partnership, the limited partnership, and the limited liability partnership. The general partnership is good for people that are starting a business that have very little to lose, basically, since their personal assets are not protected in any way. The limited partnership is a little more complicated as there are more partners, but fewer of them have limited liability in the company, but the owners still have no liability protection. And then the limited liability partnership is mostly a partnership that's comprised of professionals like accountants and lawyers and other professional careers. Next, we have the limited liability company. The LLC can be created without any documentation mostly, except all you need to do is file a charter document, often called the Article of Organization or Charter of Organization. And the limited liability company is closely related to a corporation. However, it's far less complex to run. It can be either managed by the owners or it can be managed by outside directors that have no ownership in the company. Now, the taxes for partnerships and LLCs are pretty much the same. All money earned from the company gets reported on an individual's tax return. And then we have the corporation. Now, there are four different kinds of corporations: the C Corp, the S Corp, the closed corporation, and the professional corporation. The C Corp is the most complicated corporation you can have. It's usually reserved for large businesses like Best Buy and Kinko's and FedEx. Large corporations, many employees. The S Corp is reserved for smaller companies that usually have no more than 75 shareholders in the company. And some of these corporations might be eligible to be taxed as they are in a partnership by the IRS. To form an S Corp, you have to file the status with the IRS in a certain amount of time, and your status can be lost by not meeting the eligibility requirements, like more than 75 shareholders, or if you file too late. Now, for tax purposes, the income and deductions are taken out in relation to an owner's interest in the company. So if you own 30% of the company, you get taxed at 30%, get taxed at 30% and of the company's profit, revenue, and you can also use those deductions on your tax return. And we have the closed corporation, which is kind of like an S Corp. It's smaller. It has maybe 30 to 35 shareholders. But the shareholders have the majority of the power in the company, unlike C Corp and S Corps that could have a board of directors that make all the decisions. There's strong liability protection for the shareholders in this company, and since a corporation is its own body, then nobody's personal assets could be attacked. And then last, there's the professional corporation, which again, like a professional LLC or a limited liability partnership, is comprised of licensed professionals, doctors, lawyers, architects, etc. So we have here just a brief overview of what type of corporations they are and how many employees you might have, which would be the best for you, and that would be it. Are there any questions? Yes?
For the first one, you said it could be just a verbal agreement and a handshake. Is it smart to have something written as well?
Absolutely. With just the oral agreement, it's just your word versus somebody else. So if there's any problem, which often happens in a partnership, then it's smart to have something written down so there's nothing lost in the agreement when it's first formed. Are there any other questions? Great, thank you, and appreciate you taking your time to listen to me.